All right, Music Buzz Live. We're back here in Studio A. My name's Moose. We got Chad, Drew, and CT in the booth, and we're gonna let CT go ahead and kind of introduce this segment here and let us know what the hell's going on.
Throw it to me. All right, so these gentlemen. Well, first of all, Jeff has played here in a few different bands, and they've got a cool ticketing platform. And we had a 5 o'clock, and we didn't get to it before the show started. So I figured, what better idea than to have them do a 5-minute pitch right on the show?
Pitch us about Rabbl.
That's right.
So Rabbl's the company. Take it away, gentlemen.
This is some Silicon Valley shit, right?
Yeah,
it is. We're based in San Francisco, and the idea of Rabbl is really to be Kickstarter for concerts.
Okay.
Very fun.
So if you think about the live music business, everybody is scared of risk. You know, if you do a show, are people going to show up? If you hire a band, are people enough tickets going to get sold to cover the cost of that?
Right.
We deal with that every night here.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like some of the shit these
it's
guys
a
are
real
always arguing
thing.
about.
Yeah, and if you're a band, it's actually it works the other way. Like if you're a band, who wants to play to an empty room? Nobody, right? Mm-hmm. So Rabbl is about fixing that.
Okay.
And so we think that in the age of Facebook and the internet, there really isn't any reason why anybody should ever do a show or play a show where they don't know that it's going to be a good show to start with. And that's what Rabbl's all about.
Oh,
Okay.
very cool.
So, pose it to me a little bit as far as how, from a band standpoint, if I'm a band and I'm booking a show, what do I need to do to make sure that show's going to be good by using your service?
So Rabbl's about, for a band can use Rabbl to work with any venue. And at that point, what a band would do is they would say to their fans, hey, should we play in Denver on the 1st of April, the first week of April, whatever the date they specify.
Maybe April 20th.
Yeah. April 20th.
Date right there.
For some bands.
So our band's going to be on the fence. They're like the band that could make the difference in the show. Or they might, well, the other people on the show, well, they're just like feeling the enthusiasm, and maybe because that becomes infectious when good bands are put on a bill. So if they're all tiptoeing their foot in the water, wondering, then the show might not even happen. You know.
Exactly. So you want the show to happen if it's going to be a good show, and for a band, they can put together a bill. Mm-hmm. And they can ask fans, look, should this show happen? And if you tell us it should happen, we'll make it happen. And the way you tell us it should happen is by voting for it, by reserving a ticket with a credit card. And if you're a fan, you don't get charged unless the show does happen. And if you're a band, you don't play, you don't even try to get booked unless you get enough votes and it looks like the show's going to be a success.
It's interesting.
Okay.
Bridging gaps.
It's definitely a new concept. You know, it's definitely outside the box. I like it.
Well, and when Wade introduced it to me, I thought of Herman's right away because, I mean, as you said, I've played here a number of times, and some of the bands that I've played with have gotten to a point where there was a good draw. But while we were building that up, to have the ability to, and I think I can remember you on almost verbatim saying, well, if you can guarantee that you're going to have X number of people that'll be able to show up.
I might have heard Chris say that once or twice.
And you know, and the reality is sometimes we were able to hit that goal, other times not. What this platform does is it gives you as the venue the ability to, you know, put up or shut up. If they're not going to hit that, then they don't get to have that show, and so it protects the venue, but it also gives the band a real incentive to, you know, to say, hey, listen, on their social media, we're really trying to get this show at Herman's, and your vote could make the difference there, and it allows them to really interact with their fans in a different way.
This could serve as a contract in a way. This is the deal, basically, right?
But between the venue and the band?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's public, right? It's public access?
Sure.
It's like completely transparent.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
That's a big thing. If you think about the live music business, almost nothing is transparent.
Yeah, that's absolutely
Right?
true.
And you know one of the things that Rabbl would like to do as a side effect of everything else that we're doing is really make everything just sort of open. You know, if you're a band, you know, how many people came to the show because of you is a really hard thing to know until Rabbl. Now you can know. If you were a venue and you you book a band with a guarantee, it's hard to know how many people showed up because of that band. Well, now you're going to know.
So how about from the angle of the bar staff that is planning on working that night, and then the show doesn't get enough guarantees and doesn't happen? Like, what's the angle from that perspective?
Well, if the Rabbl, the potential show, is being created by the venue, then it effectively works as a hold on the venue's calendar.
Okay.
Right? And you do this as a venue, you do it far enough out in advance that if it doesn't look like the show is going to be successful, then you have time to do something else.
Okay.
Interesting. Cool.
So when is there like a cutoff date, or is that kind of up to the venue and the band to work on?
Totally up to the venue.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there is a cutoff. The venue chooses the date, by this date, and so you might want to do that 4 weeks previous to the show. You might want to do it 6 weeks, whatever the case would be, and you set that. So if they don't hit their goal on their Rabbl by that date, then you free up that night to book other bands in here.
Awesome. And does it work at all with like an existing ticketing system or with a venue's website, or is it a completely separate software?
It can work either way. So if the venue wants to work with us for the ticketing, that's fine. That works great. If the venue wants to do this and work with inside some other ticketing system, we can actually help with that too.
What accounts have you secured already?
So we've worked with about 25 venues across the country. Some of them do some more straight-up ticketing with us, and some of them do only just these Rabbl things with us as well. We're flexible, and at the end of the day, what we're really interested in doing is making more live music happen.
Cool.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Because Tim's a talent buyer here as well, so it's like it's definitely a good round table, infomercial style
this is a cool
segment.
concept.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like what we want to have happen, I mean, the reason why we started the company is that we had all these friends who were musicians and telling us how hard it was to get booked. And we want a booker to be a booker. We want a booker to book bands that they like and not have to worry about whether or not it's going to bankrupt the venue over time, right? So with Rabbl, a booker has the ability to say, look, I like your music. I don't know you guys. Just prove to me that like we're not going to lose our shirt, and you can keep it and you can play. But like I'm also a businessman, and I have to make sure that like we're not going to totally lose money on this thing. So just meet me halfway, and that's a fair deal for everybody.
I think the other thing too that is kind of a side note is that I know that here, for instance, you guys put a lot of bills together where there's 4 or 5 plus bands on the bill.
Yeah.
And so if the band that played the 8 o'clock slot brings out the largest crowd and then it thins out for the 10 o'clock slot, that's not doing the bar staff or the venue any good. And so this actually gives you the ability to understand ahead of the show who got the most votes, who is the best band suited for taking that prime slot and trying to hold the crowd there for the whole evening. So it gives you a lot more control of how the crowd will flow throughout the evening. And I know that I've been on bills where we had a later slot and maybe we weren't the bigger draw, and you're up there going, oh my God, they hate it. So I think it's a great way to sort of be able to combat that on both sides of the coin.
That's awesome. Chris, are you sold on Rabbl?
There's a lot of variables in show business, as we all know. So I'm curious. It's a revolutionary idea. You have to give it that. As far as it's being able to apply it in a day-to-day where you're dealing with people that are in an emotional, that people with egos.
Right.
I'm curious to see how that would work.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting, dude. Rabbl, Rabbl.
That's it.
Is that right?
.com.
Thanks for coming on, guys, and explaining that.
Thanks a lot.
Coming to check it out. It's definitely a cool concept. I'm going to read up on it for sure.
Very cool. Check it out if you're a band, right?
We got top 5 up
Appreciate you
next,
guys
right?
having us.
Top 5 or something, I think. Yeah, right?
All right. Well, yeah, we'll be right back. Top 5. Cool.
Good outro, Tim.
Yeah, thank you.
Very cool.